UFC 299 in Miami. Welcome to the Spaz breakdown. I'm going to do a breakdown of every card, hopefully. But since this is my first one, it went a little hard. But we'll see how it goes here. So, we got the early prelims. The first fight of the night is we got Wood, who's a plus 185, versus Murrows, who's minus 225. Wood is 16-8. Since March 2021, she's 1-3 with one split decision win. That's it. Against that Luana Carolina, who isn't very good. I don't know if she's cut yet, but she's going to get cut soon. Miranda Moroz is 11-5. Since March 2021, she's 2-1 with a sub win. She's submission heavy. She's got 6 subs to 1 KO win. She's also 32. Wood is fucking 38. I don't want to say this, but she's super washed. Super washed. She has 5 losses to subs too, which plays in the favor of Moroz. Moroz also has decent stand-up if she can't take Wood down for some reason, but I don't see that being a problem. Like, Wood, I don't know. I don't know why UFC keeps giving Wood's fight. They just need to tell her to retire. So, Moroz has 7 UFC wins and Wood has 8 UFC wins. Wood's last fight, like I said, was an absolute embarrassment. She barely beat Luana Carolina, which is fucking retarded. And then Moroz's last fight she lost to Carolina Silva, but as we know, Carolina Silva's she's a dog. That's why she's almost in the top 10 if she's not. Yeah, this fight, I see it going fairly easy for Moroz on the feet and on the ground. I do feel like she will be shooting takedowns often, and she will succeed in them eventually. I don't think Wood has much to offer anymore. I really don't. I think that she probably should have retired a couple fights before. She just looks worse and worse to me every time. So that fight I got Moroz, second round sub. She should get the sub in the second round. If not, she might even get it in the first. Wood seems to be a girl that also quits a lot, so there's also that. Next fight, we got CJ Vergara versus Asu Almbayev. Vergara is plus 425 right now. Almbayev's minus 575. I do want to say I'm filming this on Wednesday, so if the odds change and shit, could happen. Also, fights could fall out, who knows, so this is just Wednesday right now. So CJ Vergara is 12-4-1. He's 2-3 in the UFC. His last fight was a unanimous decision win against Vinicius Salvador. He looked good in his last 2 fights, but he lost to Ode Osbourne like earlier in his career, and Almabayev actually beat Ode Osbourne in his debut. So I mean, a little bit of MMA math there could add up to an easy Almabayev win if you want to take it that way. Almabayev is 18-2. Like I said, he's 1-0 in the UFC. He beat Osbourne in his debut. He's like very, very submission heavy. He loves going on the ground and submission people. CJ's only ground test was against that Tatsuro Tara, that good Chinese fighter, and he failed like pretty badly. I think Tara submitted him in the first round. CJ didn't really show much on the ground either. What else do I got in my notes here? Almabayev is 30. CJ is how old? 32. So Almabayev's actually younger too. Almabayev fought in Brave. He's on a very, very, very long win streak. He hasn't lost since 2017, so like 7 years. He's facing CJ, like I said. CJ has got his intro into the UFC when he won the knockout. He got a knee, I think, against someone in Dana White's Contender Series, and Dana really liked him. He did have some promise, but then, like I said, his next fight he fought Ode, and I don't know, it didn't look good. He lost to Ode. And Ode Osbourne he's a hit-or-miss fighter. Very hit-or-miss. Almabayev he's well-rounded too. Like I said, he's sub strong, but he's good on the ground too. He's very good on the ground. I expect him to just wear on CJ. CJ's not a guy that really gets finished much, though, besides that Tara fight. So I expect maybe a later sub for Almabayev, maybe late second. But right here I have my official pick is a third-round sub. So if you want to hammer that late sub, it might be decent money because, like I said, Almabayev's minus 575 right now, which doesn't pay much. But it is what it is. Maybe if you put an actual finish on that in the late third round, a late sub, you might get some money back. Next, we got Despain versus Persian. Despain is minus 345 and Persian's plus 245. Despain is 35, Persian's 34, so the age doesn't matter. They're the same age. Robelius Despain is 4-0. He signed in the UFC. He's from Fury. He got 3 KOs in his last 3 fights. Listen to this. His one fight, 3 fights ago, he got a knockout in 12 seconds. His next fight, he gets a knockout in 4 seconds. So how are you going to beat that? Well, his next fight, he gets a knockout in 3 seconds. So, I mean, what are we going to pick here? 2-second knockout? Jesus. Yeah, he's just unreal. Like, he's got so much power. I think his reach is like 86 inches or something fucking crazy. And as we know, I mean, Josh Persian is, what, 15-7, 2-4 in the UFC. And he hasn't fought very, like, good guys either. He's just average heavyweights he's fighting, and he's not even coming out with the victory. His last fight was a first-round sub-loss to Martin Boudet. Martin Boudet is okay. I mean, he's not a top 10 fighter either. Like, he's just took Persian down. Persian can't stop a takedown. Subbed him. He's also a stand-up fighter, too, which Robelius is just licking his chops. He's waiting to knock out Persian quick. This is going to be just an absolute shit kicking. Robelius is going to kill him in, I don't know, under a minute. He's 6'7". He's got an 86-inch reach. I mean, way too much power. This is just an easy debut for him to get his hype up. And then I'm sure in a couple fights he'll fight someone ranked. He's also, like I said, he's 35, so they are trying to push him before he gets too up there and he can't take a shot, but he's never even been tested. I don't think he's really took any shots yet, so he probably can take a few. I got him. Yeah, just an early first round win for Despain by KO. He's going to knock that guy out cold. I know that it doesn't pay well because Despain's, what, minus 345. Persian's plus 250. But that's what's going to happen there. That's just an easy win for Despain. The next one on the early prelims we got here is Michel Pereira versus Michael Oleksiejczuk. Pereira's minus 148. Oleksiejczuk's plus 124. Michael Pereira's 29-11. He's 30. He's 7-2 in the UFC, and he's on a 6-fight win streak. And as you know, Pereira's got that crazy style of dancing around in the ring and stuff like that. He made his middleweight debut. His last fight, he was fighting at light heavy. He cut some more weight. He went down. He actually looked really good at middleweight. He fought Andrei Petroski. He knocked him out in the first round. And Petroski, when he came into the UFC, he had a bit of hype too, but he kind of fell off a little. And I don't know, that was a bad fight for Petroski. And Pereira at middleweight is a big dude. He's got such an awkward style. It's hard for anyone to pick up on it. Like, Michael Oleksiejczuk is, what, 19-6, 7-4-1, one no contest. He's only 29. He's last fight in the UFC was against that Chidi Njoku. He got a first round TKO against him, but I mean, I don't see him getting a KO this fight. I really don't. 3 of his 4 UFC fights, his losses are by sub. I see Pereira just being a bigger guy, using his side and his awkward style. He's gonna make Oleksiejczuk pretty hesitant, and Pereira's just gonna capitalize on it. I also have this one being an early KO. I got another first round KO by Pereira. I don't see a world where Michael Oleksiejczuk can hit Pereira and Pereira go down, especially on this heater that Pereira's on, I feel like they're trying to push him into that middleweight division, the top 10, top 15, get some good fights in there. And he does have potential. Like, Pereira is a very, very big guy for middleweight. And he's got a very, very awkward style. As you know, he's in there flipping like he's on a trampoline and shit. So, yeah, I got a first-round KO by Pereira there. I'm not sure if the odds for the KO they're probably better because he's only minus 148. So if you just hammer the KO, you should get a good little payout there. And our last fight here on the early prelims, we got Ion Cutelaba versus Felipe Lins. Cutelaba's minus 135. Lins is plus 114. So Cutelaba's 30. He's got a 17-9-1 record. He's 6-8-1 in the UFC. He's also fought like kind of the who's who of the lightweight division. He's fought Ankalaev twice. The first one, as you know, fake getting hurt. Ref stopped in pretty early. Second time he fought Ankalaev, out cold. He also fought Ryan Spann, fought Johnny Walker, and he fought Kennedy Nzechukwu. So his last fight was a second round TKO of Tanner Boser at the light heavyweight division, and Boser actually looked really, really in shape. So I was very surprised that Cutelaba was able to put him out there in the second round. He's 1-3 in his last 4, which, take that as you want, I guess. Felipe Lins, almost 40. He's 38, 17-5 record. He's 3-2 in the UFC. He is on a He's on a 3-fight win streak, sorry. But he also has a loss to Boser, who Cutelaba destroyed. But he has a notable win against OSP. I know OSP was older, but he still beat OSP in February last year. He's getting up there, though. Like, Lins is older, he's slower. He has less power than Cutelaba. Ion has been fighting in the UFC for almost, 10 years? But he's been off for, almost a year. This is Ion's longest layoff of his career. And I think that's going to play well for him. He usually doesn't take much breaks, but he has this time. He's going to work on his skills and stuff, so I think he has. I think he's going to look a little bit sharper because he's also, being in the UFC for, 10 years, and he's only 30. He's got some miles left on him, and they've all been in the UFC, so he's tested. He knows what it's like to face real strikers in the UFC. But I don't know. I really just think that he has a polished game right now, and he's going to get a quick finish again. I really do. I know it's, 3 first-round KOs in a row I'm predicting, but I think the early prelims are going to be pretty quick, and we're going to see a lot of filler time with DC and Joe Rogan, John Anik talking bullshit about Sean O'Malley and Marlon Vera for way too much time. But that is what it is because these fights are going to be quick and fast. I got first-round KO by Cutelaba. If you parlay Cutelaba first-round KO, Pereira first-round KO, and Despain first-round KO, I think that's a pretty good payout for that parlay if it hits. And like I said, I don't see any of those 3 being able to take the power and the stance or the style of those 3 fighters. I got KO. And that's how the early prelims are going to end. We're going to see a lot of knockouts and some good fights, except for, as I said, Joanne Wood. That fight to start off the night is going to suck, but it is what it is. So those are my first 5 fights in the early prelims. Let's get to the main prelims here. We got Pedro Munoz versus Kyler Phillips. Pedro Munoz is plus 185, Phillips minus 225. Pedro's ranked number 12. He's 20-8, 10-8 in the UFC. He's fought in the UFC for almost 10 years now. He's a vet. He's since he fought Aljo in 2019, he's only 2-5, and he's only beat unranked fighters. He beat Rivera, and then he beat Chris Gutierrez, who are both not even in the rankings. He's facing a 10-year younger Kyler Phillips, who Kyler Phillips is 11-2. He's 5-1 in the UFC. His only losses to Raulian Paiva, which I thought he won that fight. I don't know. As you know, the judges like to do whatever they want half the time I don't think they're even watching the fight. They already know who they're going to pick before the fight even starts, which is complete BS. I'm not going to mention anyone though. Sal Diamanto. But yeah, no names mentioned by judges. I don't want to call them out. But look for this fight. I think Phillips is going to have the speed advantage. He's just going to be quicker. He's going to be tagging Munoz a lot. Munoz is pretty tough, but I just think Phillips is going to outwork and outstrike him. I feel that Munoz is a tough guy too, but he probably won't get finished. He's too tough for his own good almost. He's got one of the best chins in that division, even though he is 38. But yeah, I think Phillips is just going to put it on him for 3 rounds. Couple 10-8s in there maybe, but yeah, it'll be a easy unanimous decision win for Phillips. It'll be 30-27, 30-26. Should be a pretty easy decision win for Phillips. I don't see him finishing Munoz though, but it is what it is. Also, Phillips has been training with Sugar Sean for years, and they're on the same card this time, so they've been training same camp, getting ready together. I feel like Phillips is going to be more on than ever, and he's going to be fired up with Sean there too. So I don't see a world where Phillips is losing this fight. I think Phillips jumps in the rankings. Pedro falls out of the rankings. Pedro may even retire. If it's a retirement fight, as you know, retirement fights, they don't go the way as people when they retire think they're going to do, except if you're Robbie Wilder and you pay a guy to take a dive. But it is what it is. So, yeah, I got Phillips unanimous decision. I don't know what the odds are on the unanimous decision bet, but he is minus 225, so the unanimous decision might be better because, yeah, I don't see Munoz winning that fight at all. So the next fight, we got Mateus Gamrot versus RDA. Mateus Gamrot's 23-2, and he's 6-2 in the UFC. He's 33 years old, while he's facing the 15-year UFC vet in RDA, who is 32-15, but he's 21-13 in the UFC. He's turning 40 in October. RDA's been doing this since way before the Spaz was even born, I think. He's been fighting up in the welterweight division, but he's back down in the lightweight division for this fight. I don't know. I think he got sick. He thought he could maybe make a run up there in the welterweight division, which when you're almost 40, it's almost impossible to make a run in any division, but he tried. He fought everyone, like literally everyone in the lightweight division, while Gamrot is fairly new to the UFC compared to RDA, even though he's been in the UFC since 2020. Gamrot's last fight was a win due to injury against Fiziev, which, if that fight would have went longer, I don't really know how it was gonna go. Fiziev was looking good, but he tore his knee there throwing that kick, and that was all she wrote. Gamrot gets the win. So I honestly think this is probably a step down from that fight, which plays in Gamrot's favor a lot. Gamrot's only loss in the UFC was to Dariush, which Beneil Dariush is a dog, as you know. He's before his last 2 losses to Oliveira and Arman, he was on a serious run there. But once you fight Charlie Olives, you're messed up in the head. You don't know what you went through when you fight Charlie Olives, and that played a factor, I think, in his next fight there against Arman. He was scared. He got knocked out quick. I think Charlie Olives might have even took Dariush's chin, so there's that too. But enough about Dariush. He's not even fighting here. We got his only other loss was to Kutateladze, but that's a disputed loss. I think he won that, so I'm not even counting that as a loss. I'm really not. I see this being a war though. Like, RDA is very, very durable. I know Fiziev beat RDA, finished him. I just don't see how Gamrot can finish RDA. Like, I know Gamrot's number 6. I know RDA's number 11. I know Gamrot's minus 440. I know RDA's plus 340, but I don't see a finish coming here. I just see this being an absolute war, and I see RDA actually fighting a lot better than we've seen him fight in welterweight. I think he's going to have a good weight cut and look pretty good in there, even though 40, right? I think this is going to be an absolute war in this second fight of the main prelims, but I'll be honest, I got Gamrot by split decision. I think this is going to be a war. Could go either way. Split decision, Gamrot. If it does go to RDA, I won't be too mad, but I do think it's going to be a split decision win for Gamrot there. All right. Our next fight, we got Caitlin Sermoniara versus Macy Barber. Sermoniara's plus 170. Barber's minus 205. Caitlin Sermoniara, formerly known as Chukagian. She just got married, I think, in September. I wonder if she chokes out her husband in bed, you know. Anyways, he's, she. Could be a he, who knows. They need to do some digging into that. So, Sermania is 18-5, 11-5 in the UFC, but she's older, she's 35. She's facing a much younger Barber who's only 25, 10-year difference. She's 13-2, 8-2 in the UFC, with only one of those 2 losses are coming from the current champ, Alexa Grasso, which right now I don't see anyone in that division beating Grasso, so that loss has aged very, very well. She, Sermoniara is number 4 in the flyweight division. Barber's number 6. Sermoniara was 4-1 in her last 5. Her loss was to Mano Farriot. Unanimous decision, lost that clean as day. Macy Barber, she's riding a 5-fight win streak. Her last win was against Amanda Ribas, who was going down in weight, but Barber looked like so good. She put it on her, busted her up, made Ribas bleed, TKO'd her. Both fighters prefer stand-up. That favors Barber pretty heavily. I think she's going to be crisp, fast striking, way better than Chukagian or Sermoniara, whatever you want to call her. I think this fight will go to the distance. Sermoniara is hard to finish, but Barber's gonna just win each round pretty easily. I think she'll probably make her bleed. Caitlin will be bleeding. Catlin will be bleeding. I think Barber might even take her down later in the second and the third and just ground and pound her. But I still think this fight goes to a decision. I got Barber by unanimous decision. And I just want to say this, with Caitlin Sermoniara, or Chukagian, whatever the fuck you want to call her, and Joanne Wood fighting. These are my 2 most hated fighters, UFC female fighters in the UFC. Joanne Wood, super washed, as I said. Like, I do not like her at all. I don't know why she's still in the UFC. Should have retired. And Sermoniara, Chukagian, if you close your eyes while she's fighting, just try this. Go back and watch her UFCs on UFC Fight Pass. Watch her fights. Close your eyes. You will think you're watching a women's tennis match. She grunts every strike. Like, when she fights, I have to put that shit on mute. It's so bad. So bad. I really want to get her to get knocked out clean by an elbow on the ground, which could happen, but I do have Barber by unanimous decision. But maybe if you want, you could sprinkle a little Barber finish in the second, third round, TKO. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. Putting these 2 girl fighters on the same card is quite embarrassing. Some of the matchmaking for the girls is, I don't know what Sean Shelby and them are doing, but they're trying. They give these girls way too much leeway that have been in the UFC for a long time, and they keep them around forever. I don't know. Whatever, moving on. We got Blades versus Almeida. This is a huge fight for Almeida. If he wins this, they're talking he's going to get Tom for the interim belt, which is crazy. But I think he's probably ready for that, to be honest. He's looked nothing but spectacular since he's been in the UFC. This fight is a pick'em. They're both minus 110. I mean, Curtis Razor Blades is ranked number 5 in the heavyweight division. He's 17-4-1, 12-4-1 in the UFC. He's 33. He's taken on the submission phenom, Jailton Almeida. This guy chokes you out like an anaconda. You don't even know what's happening until it's too late. The strength and power of this guy is outrageous. It's crazy. We got, Jailton Almeida's 20-2. He's only 32, so that's only a year younger. Age doesn't matter in this fight. He's 6-0 in the UFC. ranked number 7. Blades' last fight, he got TKO'd by Pavlovich. I mean, who doesn't? Just Tom. Everyone else didn't even want to fight Pavlovich. Like, that guy's one of the scariest guys in the division since Francis left. Credit to Tom for winning that fight, too. But, yeah, Blades was just outmatched. Pretty scared in that fight, and you could tell. Pavlovich put it on him and finished him rather quickly. Almeida's won 13 fights in a row. His last win was a decision win against Derek Lewis. Boring fight. But if Lewis isn't in an absolute striking KO war in the first round, his fights are pretty boring, especially when he fights wrestlers. We've seen that before, and that's what happened the last time when he fought Almeida. But I don't know. He's won 13 fights in a row without a loss since 2018. Blades is a wrestler. Almeida's a submission king. I see it canceling each other out, to be honest. We may see more of a stand-up war than we're used to with these two guys, but if Blades is smart, he will keep it standing, because if he even shoots on Almeida, Almeida's going to welcome that to the ground. He can sub him off his back if he wants to. I don't know. I think Almeida's going to outwork Blades. He will eventually get him to the ground. If Blades isn't shooting, which he shouldn't, Almeida's going to shoot eventually and take him down. Blades needs to get that quick knockout on Almeida, or Almeida's going to have his way with Blades, especially on the ground. He's going to run through him. I don't think he's going to KO him. I do think he's going to get a sub. I think it's going to be a later first-round sub, but it's going to be the first round. I think they're going to be too dry. Almeida's too strong. He's got way too good of a grip, and I just think it's going to be Almeida first-round sub, and then they're going to set up Almeida versus Tom for that interim belt as they're waiting for Jones to fight Stipe. But, yeah, it's just Almeida's going to run through Blades, I think, here. And I think Blades is going to be on his fall off. I think it's starting. It started with that loss to Pavlovich, and now he's fighting the next best prospect in that division in Almeida, who, I mean, if you put Almeida against Pavlovich, I'd take Almeida in that fight too. So, yeah, I got Almeida first round sub. And then we got Almeida versus Tom next for that interim belt. And just wait for my pick on that fight. All right, main card here, UFC 299. It's almost as good as the UFC 300 main card. Both of these in the next 2 months is crazy. It's got me jumping here. Let's start it off. We got Peter Yan versus Song Yadong. Peter Yan, number 4. Song Yadong, number 7. This is a pick'em. They're Yan's minus 118. Yadong is minus 102. The odds just keep changing for this fight, so I don't know what they will be like on fight night. Like I said, I'm filming this on Wednesday. But right now, that is the odds. So Peter Yan, he's 31. He's got a 16-5 record, and he's 8-4 in the UFC. But his last 5 fights, 1-4 since that knee against Aljo. And he's it's hard to argue he's not on the skid, to be honest. His last fight against Merab didn't look like the old Peter Yan like he was when he was knocking out Uriah Faber and that. He just doesn't look like that anymore. He got worked by Merab all 3 rounds, and that was an easy fight to call for Merab. Compared to, the 26-year-old Song Yadong, who's 21-7-1, 10-2-1 in the UFC. He's 5-1 in his last 6, so the opposite of Peter Yan. And he's won his last 2 with his last win was against Chris Gutierrez, but that fight probably should have never even happened. They just gave Song that fight. I think even it might have been a late replacement. If not, I could be wrong, but yeah, Song Yadong either way handled Gutierrez like he should have, and he proved he's ready for a step up in that competition, and Yan is that. He's a big step up. This has a potential to be the fight of the night. This and Poirier versus Saint Denis. I don't know which one to pick for fight of the night, but I'm going to put my money on this fight for fight of the night. It's going to be a mix of stand-up and wrestling. This fight is going to keep those fans on their feet the whole time. It's going to be loud in there to kick this main card off. It should be packed by then. It's not like Vegas where they don't show up till the last 2 fights, which is beyond me. I don't know why the tickets are so expensive in Vegas too when the fucking seats are empty for more than half the fights. It doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, It's going to be an insane fight. I think Jan, it will start strong, but I think Yadon will answer later in the fight. Maybe even putting Jan on his ass a couple times with the right hand in the third round. I think this is going to be a bloodbath. They're both going to be cut. They both are known to get cut too, so there's going to be some red stains on that mat after this fight. I just see Jan lost a step. That's all. I just see that. I just see it clearly that Jan lost a step, and I don't know what he's going to do after this fight. I think he needs to maybe take some time off, go back to Tiger, do some more training, find some different training partners. He's got to switch some things up because what he's been doing hasn't been working, and I think Yadong just keeps getting better. Like I said, I think this is going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be on the feet, on the ground. It's going to be just a classic mixed martial arts fight, but I do have Yadong by split decision, and I think that pays well too. So if you want to hammer that split decision win by Song Yadong, I definitely recommend it. I think he's a little more durable, a little quicker, and he's going to look ripped in there too. He always does. He always looks on. And I mean, like I said, that loss Yadong had to Phillips, up in the air. The win he had against Chito Vera, up in the air. So he does go to split decision a few times. I think this is going to happen again, but this will be the second time that Jan loses those split decisions, O'Malley, and now this one. So Jan's going to have to take some time off, and I think Song Yadong, after this fight, is going to be calling for O'Malley, but it's not going to help because Merab is there as a backup fighter. If he doesn't get the fight this time, Merab's next, so I don't see a world where Yadong will be next. Yadong is going to have to fight someone else in that division, maybe the loser. Maybe he fights Marlon Vera again, gets that rematch, show him that he can actually win more than just getting the judges' nods, because as we know, Umar is probably going to face Sandhagen, so those two are going to be locked up for a while, as Umar just fought like last weekend too. But yeah, I got Yadong by split decision there. Next, we got Burns versus Jack Della Maddalena. Burns, I have no clue who made these odds, but this is ridiculous that Burns is a plus 130 dog, with Maddalena being minus 155 a favorite. Like, Maddalena hasn't fought anybody that's as good as Burns at all. Like, if you think Kevin Holland is as good as Burns, you can kick rocks. Gilbert Burns, he's 37. I understand that. But he's 22-6, and he's 15-6 in the UFC. He's fought everyone in the welterweight division, and he's number 4. Like, Jack Della Maddalena, 16-2. He is 6-0 in the UFC, but like, his last 2 wins were split decision. Barely won, just skidded by those 2 fights. And now they're giving him Gilbert Burns. Like, I really don't understand how you just throw him in there like that. But they're doing it, and they want to see what he can do. But he's ranked number 11, and he's going to stay there. He's not taking that spot from Burns. I could tell you that for free. It's not happening. Like, Burns' last fight, obviously, yeah, I know. He lost to Bilal, but he beat Masvidal and Magny before that. And, like, I know Masvidal, anyone can take Masvidal down and just lay on him. And then Masvidal, I'll try and fight you after the fight. But that's what you do. And Magny looked good in his last fight against Mike Malott. I was actually there at that fight. And, yeah, Mike Malott just crumbled. And Magny took advantage of that, as the vet does, and beat him. Del Muerto, he's obviously undefeated, like I said. He's got back-to-back split wins, like I said. But the one, like I said, Holland, but the other one, Hafez, like, who even is that guy? And to only beat him by split decision, and then another split decision by Holland, and then what, we're going to give him Burns? Like, are we crazy? I don't know what we're doing with that. Like, I think Burns should be a heavy favorite, but he's not. He's an underdog, which is crazy to me. I need everyone to hammer that Burns card. Like, just hammer Burns, hammer him. He's like levels. There's levels to this game, as they say, and he's going to show this. He's levels above Jack Della Maddalena. I know Jack's 10 years younger, 27, but this won't play a factor in this fight. I think Burns is going to show the younger prospect, like, what levels really mean. And he's going to have his way with Jack. And Jack's Jack's gonna fall. I predict the second round sub or KO for Burns. It's gonna be very one-sided, like I said. Jack has a lot to learn before he fights a top 5 fighter. And Burns is gonna teach him a quick lesson, very quick lesson. I don't know why Jack is like, he's walking around like he's going to be the next big thing, and he's fought nobody, which is crazy. Kevin Holland, I know Kevin Holland is Kevin Holland, but he has fought nobody. Absolutely nobody. I got Burns second round sub. Easy fight for Burns. Speaking of Kevin Holland, he's taking on Michael Venom Page in Michael Venom Page's debut, coming over from Bellator. Another one where I don't know why, maybe because fans don't know MVP as much as some other people do, but yeah, the odds are favoring Holland here, as Holland's minus 135, and Michael Venom Page is plus 114. Holland's ranked number 13. He's 25, 10, and 1, while he's 12, 7, and 1 in the UFC. His last fight was a tough, like I said, split decision loss to Jack Della Maddalena, which could have went either way. And he beat Chiesa and Ponzinibbio. He knocked out Ponzinibbio and then subbed Chiesa, which was actually a pretty good sub, considering Chiesa's pretty good on the ground, which showed how well-rounded Holland actually is, not just a knockout king. Michael Venom Page, he's 21-2. He's coming off a 26-second win against Yamaguchi, who, if you don't know who Yamaguchi is, he's a tough son of a gun in Bellator, and I think he actually held the belt for a little there too, so that's a big win for MVP. He wasn't the champ when MVP beat him, but it's a big win there for MVP. MVP is a little older, he's 37, but I mean, like, he looks just as good as he did when he was 31, like Holland is right now. I don't think he has lost a step for like 5-6 years. Like, he's just been on his style. As you know, it's a little like Michael Pereira's. He's very unorthodox. He does all these spinning attacks and all this shit that people love to see. I think this is gonna be just a stand-up war. Holland is probably gonna try and take him down, but Venom Page, he has pretty good submission defense, takedown defense. I know he lost to Logan Storley. He got taken down a lot in that fight, but Logan Storley is one of the best takedown artists in Bellator in that division. So I don't really knock him for that. I think Holland will try, maybe once he tests and sees MVP stand up, he's probably going to try and take him down. But I think MVP is going to put it on him. I think MVP, if he gets taken down, he's just going to get back up. I really do. I expect a classic fight here. Like, I don't see a world where MVP just gets knocked out by Holland. I think MVP is just going to show UFC what he's all about in this debut. I know a lot of people are going to favor Holland just because Holland's a fan favorite as well, so the odds probably help him in that. But honestly, I think MVP is going to land a crazy KO. I got him by second round KO. It could be first round, but I think MVP is going to put it on him, like I said 1,000 times. And this is just going to be an absolute fan favorite of a fight. I don't think it's going to be fight of the night, but it might be knockout of the night. I think MVP is going to have a crazy knockout. Get on the mic, call out a top 10 fighter in that division, and he goes from there. I think if he does what he can, he might be able to get that title shot, but he needs to still work on that ground game. But Holland is not a guy to test him in that, so I do think MVP is going to win this pretty easy, second round KO. He's the underdog too, so a second round KO probably plays pretty good. Co-main, Dustin Poirier versus Saint Denis. This one reminds me a lot of the fight we did two fights before this, the Burns and Maddalena fight. I don't know why the odds are like this. I really don't. Poirier's plus 170, Saint Denis minus 205. Like, this is a banger fight, I know that, but I don't know why the odds are like that. Poirier's ranked number 3 in the lightweight division. He's 35. He's got a record of 29-8-1, 21-7-1 in the UFC. Benoit Saint Denis 28, ranked number 12. He's 13-1 and 5-1 in the UFC. He's on a 5-fight win streak. His only loss was he stepped in on late notice, a weight class up, got knocked out. But what do you do when you get the call to UFC? You got to say yes, no matter where it is, when it is, how it is. You just got to say yes to get your foot in the door, and he did that. And then he proved that he's a UFC fighter with a full camp. He's won 5 in a row. He's got a first-round KO his last fight, and he finished all of his wins in the UFC. Poirier, he's 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He's coming off a KO loss to the BMF Justin Gaethje. Got head kicked, everyone's seen that. But as we know, Poirier's never in his life lost 2 fights in a row. Saint Denis has a lot of hype around him, and he's looked very good so far inside the octagon, but he hasn't fought anyone inside the top 5 or anyone on Dustin Poirier's level. This is gonna hurt him, and he's gonna look for Saint Denis to be outmatched on the feet and on the ground, like all over. Like I said, similar to Burns and Madalena, I don't know why the odds are like this, and I think this is gonna be pretty one-sided for Poirier. I think he's on a mission right now to prove he's not done, and to prove that to these younger prospects that they got a lot to learn when they fight the diamond and fight in that top 3. Saint Denis, he's tough though. I don't think he's gonna go down. I don't think he's gonna go down early. I think Poirier's gonna have to put it on him for a while. It might be like a Eddie Alvarez type of war against Poirier, where Poirier doesn't put him down early, but Poirier eventually does put him down in maybe the 2nd or 3rd round. And I just think Dustin's going to win this fight pretty easily. I think it's going to be an impressive night for Dustin. I think he's going to win. Like I said, 2nd or 3rd round KO. My official prediction is 2nd round KO, but it could go later just because Saint Denis is younger. He's tough. He is going to have that dog in him. He's going to be trying his hardest. But, I mean, to go from Matt Frivola to Dustin Poirier, I mean, what are we doing? This is exactly like De La Almeida. These guys are taking off way more than they can chew. And both of these prospects, as I said, are going to have to go back to the drawing board and fight someone a little lesser to grow their portfolio until they can fight top 3 fighters like Poirier. Poirier is a Hall of Famer. This is just going to be an easy night for Poirier. I think he wins 2nd round KO. Now, this main event, it's a rematch. O'Malley versus Vera 2. But as we know, the first fight was an injury to O'Malley. He tore his leg. He got parental nerve or whatever it's called. He got kicked. His leg was dead. And then it was a quick stoppage when he went to the ground. He ate a couple elbows, and Herb Dean stepped in there and called the fight. That was in 2020. I think, as we know, since then, Sean's been, switched to level. He's ranked number 8 pound for pound in the UFC for a reason now. I mean, it's Sugar Sean. He's 17-1, 9-1 in the UFC. And he's coming off 2 impressive wins. He beat Peter Yan. I don't care what you say. He beat Peter Yan. And then KO'd Aljamain Sterling, who no one could beat. And I'll be honest, I picked Aljo. I didn't think Sean could beat him. And he did. So once Sean does that, I can't go against him. I really can't. He's 29. He's said 2035 he wants to reign as champion. So what, 10 years? He's going to be champ for a while. And Chito Vera, Chito Vera's 31, 23-8, 5-7 in the UFC, ranked number 5. He's 5-1 in his last 6, but his only loss was to Corey Sandhagen, split decision. And then after that, he came back and beat Pedro Munoz. And then because he won that fight, they're giving him Sean because of the rematch. If it was anyone else beating Pedro Munoz, they wouldn't get a title shot. But because Vera and the history and Sean wants it, UFC's giving it to him. I mean, anyone that gets a title shot has a chance of winning, obviously. But I see Sean really putting it on Vera. He was putting it on him back. And if you look at their first fight, Sean was touching him before he got his leg messed up there by that kick, but that kick is 1 in a million. I know Vera will probably be spamming leg kicks again, but you don't think Sean's been training for that for what, 6, 7 months? He knows, and right when those kicks are thrown, he's gonna light him up. And I don't think Cheeto Vera's gonna be ready for this kind of pressure from O'Malley. He's gonna be very shocked at what O'Malley is like now compared to what he was 4 years ago. I know Vera's training hard. I know he's doing all the right things, but I don't think Vera's ready for this. And I just see I see Sean kicking Cheeto's ass. He's gonna be locked in from the opening bell. I think Cheeto's gonna come to fight as well, but it's not gonna be as easy as he thinks. Especially when Cheeto has never finished, like, he hasn't finished someone since, I think Cruz was his last finish, and then he's been in a couple decisions. But I know Cheeto has never been finished himself, and I think that's going to change this fight. I think Sean's finally going to finish Cheeto. Cheeto's finally going to get finished. I think it's going to go 3 or 4 rounds. Cheeto is tough. I think Cheeto might win a round 2 in there. He might win the second round, but I think this is going to be a 4th round TKO by Sean. I think Sean's going to run through him pretty heavily. I know Sugar Sean is looking for a boxing match as well, but as we know, Merab is next after this fight, and Merab is also the backup fighter, so let's hope Cheeto Vera or someone doesn't fall out, because then Merab's going to step in there, and that's a whole different fight for Sean, which I don't think he's really ready for that fight. So let's hope this fight stays on. Everyone makes weight. It goes good. Cheeto Vera's going to go out there, spam those leg kicks like I said, and O'Malley's going to show him that that's not going to work this time, and he's going to put it on him from the opening bell. It's going to be another war. This could be fight of the night. Saint Denis could be fight of the night. Munoz could be fight of the night. There's a lot of fight of the nights that could happen on this card, but like I said, we got O'Malley easy here. 4th round KO. Sugar Sean in those pink shorts keeps it going. Cheeto Vera is going to have to take another step back. I mean, he didn't beat Sandhagen, then he beats Munoz and he gets the title shot, which, like I said, if it was anyone else, they wouldn't be getting that shot. So they're giving it to Cheeto, but Cheeto is he's bitten off way too much here, and Sean's gonna put it on him. I know Cheeto's not scared or anything, but Sean's levels above what he was 4 years ago, and he's gonna show that, and it's just gonna be an easy night for Sean. I think he's gonna make it look easy. It's gonna go later just because Cheeto's never been finished, never ever been finished, but he's gonna be bloody, and he's gonna go down eventually. You're not gonna be able to take that many significant strikes from Sean. Look for a record, maybe even beating when he fought Moutinho. He has the record for significant strikes. If this fight goes to 4 rounds, look for that significant strike record to be beaten. I think he's going to use that face as a punching bag, and Cheeto Vera's going to go down. So, yeah, those are my breakdowns for the fight. I know this is my first time doing it, so I was repeating myself and messed up a little, but it's going to get better every time, I promise. And I was going off some notes there. I had all the records and stuff and the ages and shit wrote down, so I had to look at my notes. If you think I'm going to remember all that shit, you're crazy. I'm not Albert Einstein here. But yeah, that's UFC 299 in Miami. It's crazy card. And then next we got a few fight nights and then UFC 300. But look for this to be one of the cards of the year, cards of the century. Miami's going to be bumping. Sean's going to be winning. He's going to be going down to whatever, Live or whatever the club is down there after, drinking the Happy Dads, going crazy. Him and Phillips, both off a win. That team is growing, and Sean's the head of that team. Him and his coach, they're next level. So just look for some good finishes in this card. Like I said, early prelims are going to be quick, and then later on we're going to have some wars, minus those 2 girl fights, which I said, which make me sick to my stomach. But this is going to be a great card, and we got Sugar Sean to win, retain that belt, and keep that era going. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.